Hello, everybody. My name is Marcus Medina, and this is my very first audiocast, I guess you can call it. Um, anyways, you might hear a series of sounds and things like that, like clicks and whatnot, but uh, ignore that. Anyways, I'm kind of new at this, but I'm just doing this for whoever's listening because I don't get a chance to actually talk to people on the verbal level or conversational level, and maybe this might be the best way to get my voice out there. And it's sort of like I'm talking to myself, but actually I'm talking to you. So if you have nothing better to do, you can always refer to this video or audio recording of me speaking to you. Anyways, I'm not a radio guy or a personality or anything like that. I mean, I'm just mostly a writer, but I'm just gonna go ahead and start the cast. Anyways, welcome, viewer, listener, whichever you prefer to be. There's really no videos to show at the moment. This is just what podcasts basically are by default, but I know that they're evolving with people on the webcams and things like that. I mean, I hope to actually get myself out there, but I'm more of a live streamer, and I think that in the essence of live streaming versus podcasting, I just want to try the audio thing. Anyways, you might not really know who I am, and you probably already do. But in case you don't know that much about me, I'm here to tell bits and pieces of me throughout time. I'll hopefully be able to elaborate on a lot of my history and current events, stuff like that. Anyways, again, my name is Marcus Medina. My full name's actually much more longer, Marcus Lorenzo Medina Smith. On paper, I guess it's Smith, but it's not really a desirable last name for me. Smith, of course, as you know, is very common. And from what I know, my grandfather's last name was Smith, but I never knew him. And there's not much of a legacy that he's had before, and not really much that's really needing to be made. But I did take the Medina last name because, for one, my father is alive. I can know him. I know him. I known of him, and he has already created a legacy, which even spawned the life of me. And I will go ahead and start. Anyways, my name is Marcus Medina. I don't know how many times I keep saying that. So just refer to me as Marcus. I have no other nicknames or anything. Just Marcus. I mean, my mom, she loves my name, things like that. I know that she was the one that gave me the name, and I don't know where the Lorenzo part came from. I think it came from just her love of Hispanic people and just wanting to give me something Hispanic. Uh, I'm 31 years old. I was born in Dallas, Texas, somewhere in Dallas, Parkland Hospital or something, 1983 on November 20th. For the girls who always stuck up on that astrology stuff, yes, I am a Scorpio, and in Chinese zodiac astrology, whatever that stuff is, science. I'm a wild boar, and I was, of course, born in the year of the pig. Um, anyways, I grew up in Dallas, Texas, almost all my life until I was about 18 years old. That was the time when I first left the state of Texas. And here's some things that I've done as a child. Well, first off, I wasn't as accomplishing as my little brother was, where he's won numerous medals and everybody knows him. Uh, Shout out to my brother Jose Manuel. Um, well, I was the total opposite. As even it's funny because I was the older brother. I was not setting any kind of precedence. I was, just let me play outside with my friends and enjoy my childhood kind of guy. Play with my toys. I played with toys until I was 18, and I still kind of do, collect some toys, and sometimes I just mess with them a little bit. And I'll tell you like why, kind of why. You'll see why actually a little later. Anyway, some things that I've done as a child, not much, but won regionals in chess one time, and I kind of sucked afterwards. Let's see, I won the regionals at the Japan Bowl. I actually legitimately eliminated. I actually didn't have. I didn't really have any good partners. I still remember my partners just like it was yesterday. Um, First off, no offense to them. I know they're probably not even ever going to listen, and I have not kept in contact with any of them since. But my first partner, um, when I got into regionals, she threw up in the middle of the contest, and or maybe even in the beginning or something like that. But it was kind of crazy. It was like, oh my god. So I lost my partner, and actually I had that partner because I needed a third person, and although she wasn't really good at the Japanese language, she was a level one. I still needed her to get in because nobody else could go to Houston, Texas that time. Um, my other partner was Chinese, and he was also a level one. But the beauty about it was that he knew the characters, the Chinese characters, and he was able to tell me what they were in English so that I could translate it into Japanese. All in all, I basically got to the finals and the regionals, and I placed, but I got first, and then we got third last. So it was kind of crazy. I couldn't go nation. I could have went nationwide had I been on the team with the other like two other girls that were really good, but they had already chose their group, and I think they lost. They couldn't attend the nationals because the third person couldn't go, something like that. And my mom didn't have the money. Anyways, enough about the Japanese thing. Yes, I studied Japanese for about 2 years. I took three years of courses worth in high school, and ultimately graduated with an excellency in Japanese, with my average being around 100 or 102, whatever. And I also graduated with Japanese honors at Richardson High School in 2002. And the things that I've done as an adult actually outweighed those as a child. First off, um, I was the first male in my family, in my generation, to graduate from high school or grade school altogether. Um, I was the first person in my family to join the military and become a Marine. And I started in 2002, like right after high school. This was the year of 9/11. So whenever 9/11 happened, all the kids were like, I want to fight, I want to kill, whatever they wanted to do. I joined with that group of students that came right after. Um, you had some crazy kids, man. But I had some really mellow friends. They joined and they were very humble. I'm glad to know that, you know, none of us are really ever that crazy. And actually, for the most part, most guys I surfed with wasn't really that crazy in the end. I think the training definitely humbled us down, and the fact that I did an 8-year term and got to meet different kinds of people, uh, you know, and it was bound to happen. But I also went to war. That humbled people too. I was in Iraqi Freedom actually from '06 to 7. And in my 8-year time, first trained as a cook. Simply put, I was in mess duty. I actually went to a culinary art school, which was hosted by uh, the Army at the Quartermaster School of Culinary Arts. And I know that a lot of cooks went either to that school in the old time or they went to another school, whatever. But I don't know how it is now, but it was definitely complicating back then, because we learned how to do all the culinary art stuff. We baked pies, and it was amazing. But afterwards, it's like you're in a field and you're just reheating stuff. There were times though that the guy in command of us, or in charge. I'm sorry. The He's now he might be hired in a gunnery sergeant. I'm not sure, but Mr. Grant, he was Mike Grant. He was the guy who was like envisioning these different kinds of things. He had all these good ideas on what we should do. We actually cooked real food here and there, which was really great. Um, I did, I worked on steaks and things. And another thing I thought was cool was because I met him at a sort of, I met him at corporal and everything. It was real easy to get attached to him. I had all these ideas as a private or PFC whatever, and it really helped. Like it was like anything to help us work less harder was definitely something that was worth his time to listen to. And most corporals, sergeants, and above, they don't really want to listen to any ideas. But with that, of course, that also helped me because I knew that if he could do it, I would eventually end up doing it, and I did a lot later. Um, Aside from mess duty, I was trained as a truck driver. I was self-taught in some courses that I took at the Marine Corps Institute, actually from at home. I did counterterrorism, electronic warfare, basically hacking. I did, some calculus or whatever, and in Iraq, I didn't cook or any of that stuff. Actually, I was somewhat of a gunner, but that kind of went out really quick because most of the time I was what they call a det fac guard, which is a person that's in charge of the prison facility there after the event of Abu Ghraib and stuff. I couldn't, of course, I didn't want any of that stuff to happen while I was on watch or anything. So, the Marines was very, aside from the Army, Marines were very, again, very humble, and we didn't do any crazy stuff like to anybody. It was just pretty much everything was strictly protocol, and I was kind of glad that I went through that. There was a lot of stuff that I did. I should have gotten a lot more out of it, but stuff gets lost at Congress, and people don't get awarded like they should. Um, anyways, I was there during, especially during the December 3rd incident where the helicopter killed some of our guys, and I was actually there, which was one of the life-turning events. It really brought some of us together as a unit. That was probably the last biggest event that finally had everybody realize that hey, you got one life to live, and you better live it the best way that you can. So yeah. Anyways, I'll just like to take a second to remember those guys as I usually do. So give me a moment. All right. Big hoorah to those guys, Semper Fidelis, and never forget, once a Marine, always a Marine. And on top of that, of course, I honorably was discharged from the Marine Corps after my 8 years, which was awesome because nobody could really tell me anything. Anyways, getting back to going, or at least going forward, while I was in the military, I was also, I'm sorry, while I was in the military, I was also attending school. I attended Austin Community College and some UT classes back to back, and that didn't go so well because I wanted to live in Austin. It actually wasn't the school that was at fault for me going back to Dallas. It was the separation from my unit, being deployed to Iraq, and some financial troubles beginning. When you first go to school, you think, oh, I'm gonna go and you sign up for financial aid, which doesn't even really accept you. It was really hard to get it financial aid, and I didn't have the same benefits going into college than I did coming out, and I didn't really even get a chance to use those because after Iraq, I started going to the Dallas community colleges, and I got my um, transfer document done like probably like a year or so, year and a half after. Went to University of Texas at Dallas. I was there for about a year or year and a half or so, and with prior prior education through the military, Austin Community College, and all that, and UT, I managed to get my degree back to back. I got my associate's and bachelor's degree. So for some of you, you probably noticed that I graduated like twice almost within a year. I got my associates at Brookhaven in general studies, but the focus was actually on Asian studies. That includes languages and cultures. And I got a pre-law minor with a world history major. My pre-law minor is mostly based on, of course, law, which I hopefully will pursue during the time of um, during my attendance at graduate school, should I go, and I will. Anyways, got experience in elections, the election process, and that part of political science as well. When I went in for an internship with Stephanie Carter, and then eventually graduated into the grassroots campaign and all the little stuff and secrets that you probably will never know about. And there really isn't any secrets. Stephanie Carter is a very honest woman. She's a very awesome girl who is the congresswoman of District 102 in Dallas. I think she has some parts of Richardson and mostly Dallas. So if you haven't, please check her out. Just keep voting for her. She's doing a really good job for all the people there. Um, anyways, world history major. I studied all kinds of stuff, but mostly in love with Japanese culture. Studied Korean language, Korean culture, Japanese language and culture, samurai history, Chinese philosophy, Chinese language. I mean, you name it. Ottoman Empire history, all that stuff. And hopefully, like I said, I would love to return back to Austin, Texas to get my PhD in Asian language and cultural studies. One or the other, it doesn't matter, but I'm going to get it in everything. So, anyways, as of now, I'm still a big time gamer. I grew up as a gamer. Just a few of my highlights: I'm undefeated with Gil in Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, undefeated with Mario and all of the Smash Brothers games, aside from the last one because I've not played it yet, and it's kind of sad. But where I live right now, we don't really carry the consoles or the games for that, and it don't come in English, so it's kind of difficult out here when it comes to being a gamer, especially if you're a console gamer. And I'm a console gamer. I do play PC games. This probably doesn't include League of Legends or Diablo 3 yet, but I did play Diablo at some point. I actually play Phantasy Star Online too, which is a Japanese role playing game, and there is some multiplayer in it. So, and it's all multiplayer actually. But, anyways, it's a Japanese only game that I play. I think it's available in English somewhere out there in Asia, but I don't I don't care for that version. Anyways, big time gamer. I have an Xbox One. Gamer tag is Iscariot, which is the title character of a book I'm writing. I'll get on. I'll touch up on that a little later. Big time gamer. Nintendo guy. I'm a big time Nintendo fan, Super Mario fan, Halo fan for the Xbox. I'll talk about like my history with gaming at some point. But for right now, let's continue going on. Aside from all that, I teach English, so I actually do have a job now. I've had a number of jobs, and I'll probably talk about those jobs in the future. But Right now, I'm teaching English part time, which is crazy, but hey, it pays. It pays really good. And I taught in Seoul for 1 year and 3 months, which is probably, aside from the living experience, the teaching experience was probably one of the greatest experiences in work history for me. And right now, I teach in Jeju. I thought it wasn't going to go by so well, but actually living here and teaching here has been a godsend. And you know, I'm sort of looking into, not really sort of, but I am looking into doing another year here. And another thing, one of the most important things that I'm doing right now is I'm a writer slash artist, but you know, whatever you want to call it. Aside from being a political scientist, um, I am a writer, artist, and I plan to use everything that I know into my work. And the work that I'm doing is Scariot. Now, I will really get into that, but first, let me close this part about me with my personality. First off, I don't consider myself as much as a hard worker as my brother or my dad or anything, but I consider myself a smart worker, maybe the smarter worker than most others. I mean, I've gotten by in life just by my cunning, I guess you can. And I know that that won't last forever. So, this is likely what I'm doing now is the pretense to a better person, a better me. And, with that, I can't do it without being optimistic. Now, I'm I consider myself as the most selfless person, selfless adult that I've ever known. And I say this because, I'm just now starting to live life now. And it's kind of crazy, but I do even miss being selfless, you know, giving to others with, the expense of losing a lot for yourself, and that includes like time, not just money, but time and some other efforts and attention to yourself and things like that. Things that are very important to you as an adult, the things that you lose when you stop being a child from other people, especially in a survivalist family, things like that, where everybody's for themselves, and the only people that really benefit from others are the children and the families and stuff like that. Especially the better ones, But anyways, I'm a big time nonconformist. Actually, everybody's a conformist in some way, but I'm more of a nonconformist than others. I mean, you see something on TV and you gotta have it, right? Well, I pick and choose what I like, and I only go with a very few things. I mean, I'm as much as I really want. I'm sort of a minimalist too, especially at this age. I feel like I know I can't have everything, but I know I can have everything if I wanted to, and I know I can get it, but I really don't care. Like I'm just take what I can get, and then I accept and I appreciate what I get. That's all a part of growing up and being a kid and all that stuff. Anyways, nonconformist. I mean, if I don't like something, I just don't like it for a long time. If I didn't support something when I was little, I probably don't support it right now. But I do understand that there's different kind of people out there and all that, and there's a lot of stuff that surprises me. A lot of things because other people are doing it or something is happening, whatever. But anyways, yeah, with the advent of the internet and how everything blown up and how everybody's on Facebook nowadays and Twitter, uh, you still gotta stay true to your roots and to your ideals, or something's bound to change it. I'm not saying it's okay to be ignorant or anything, but being true to yourself, not changing your opinions all the time, I think that is very important. Anyways, um, I'm gonna move on to my political stance. Anyways, I'm semi-liberal and more conservative. And what this means is that, and like I said before, being a nonconformist and all that, um, you know, it's really hard to say that I can support anybody on any agenda. There's a lot of talk out there, and I'm not even going to speak on these things individually, but socially and politically or socio-politically, um, you know, when people want changes and stuff like that, I think it's cool that people do it, but I feel that if you're going to make any changes, the internet is not the best way to do it. When I was trying to get my dental work and stuff like that, I went to the VA hospital to try to fix my teeth, and my teeth were actually in danger, more danger than ever. And after empty promises from being in the Marine Corps and everything, and not being able to get those benefits that I deserve, and I know everybody deserves. Um, I had to do something about it, but I was the only person doing it, and I feel like okay, everybody is, and I'm not pointing anybody out. I'm not saying everybody is, but when there's a lot of people behind that computer voicing their complaints and stuff on the website, doesn't really do anything. It doesn't really move anything, and you wonder why things are always the same. I say this because I already know that if I were out there trying to fight for rights, I'll be by myself. I mean, nobody's really going to look at me. I mean, just basing myself and my thoughts off of experience, nobody's going to freaking like do what I want to do. They want what they want. They want what's best for only them. And while I do want what's best for me, I want what's best for me, but for everybody. Like I want everybody to have it. Like I don't want to just finish my thing and go sit down because, like I said before, I'm a selfless person. But we all, at least got to get a little something, right? So that's where being semi-liberal comes from. But being mostly conservative, I feel like because I'm on my own team most of the time, and whenever it comes time for me to actually get some help, everybody disappears. And then I'm, in that survival mode again, where if I want something, I have to do it by myself because my friend's too busy or my family members are too busy to help me. And this is almost all the time. you know, it's not like the socialist or communist countries' families were in the ones that I've observed in Vietnam and China, my time there, and here in Korea. Most people are together. Most families are together and they're very tight. And I'll talk about that stuff a lot later. But with my experience, you see why people are heavily conservative and things like that. It all comes with territory and background and stuff like that. It's fire that you can't extinguish, and hopefully there will be a balance of things for all people out there because everybody wants what they want, but it seems like it's really hard for people to get it. If you really want it, though, you'll do what you need to do to get it, though. But I don't think the internet is the best way to voice it. I think it's just the best place to put your voice, but it's not the best way to take action. Uh, that's why I'm doing this, because I'm just doing this for to voice myself. I'm not really doing this to take too much action, but hopefully action will pass or happen. I mean, action will happen based on what the individuals do when they listen to what I'm saying. I guess this is all natural. I mean, I do have an outline of what I want to say, but it's still natural. You know, I don't write full stories and read off of them. I just write down little outlines and just say stuff. Anyways, in the final part of my personality, and I have a lot of pieces and parts of my personality, but the most important and biggest one is my open-mindedness. I mean, I'm open-minded for a reason, and it's gotten me here, this far. I mean, I couldn't be in Korea if I was not open-minded, and I know there's a lot of open-minded people out there that can't make it, but um, that's basically what all this has led to. Graduating, studying other people, stuff like that, being able to sit down in a temple for a long time. Um, I'm just I'm very tolerable for. I mean, I can tolerate people's um, beliefs. I can tolerate culture, things like that. I mean, it might not be able to. I mean, I might not be able to conform to it, but I can accept it, is what I'm saying. I can accept people for who they are and what they do. I just can't conform, sorry. And if I do agree with you, that's even better. I can agree with people that I disagree with too. The thing is just that, can that person do the same? And if they can't, then I'm sorry. I can agree with a person's mindset and their strict policy to accept things or not to be able to accept things, whatever the case may be. I can accept your opinion. I just can't change myself for it. I mean, I can shape some things, I can change some things, but I can't change everything. And if there is any like really harsh changes that I need to make, and that does happen, then I propose a transition. You know, um, and I'll talk about that kind of stuff in the future. But anyways, just going over 30 minutes now, and I'm going to close this with the last part of my podcast, which is all about Iscariot, and I will be kind of quick about it because I know that if I speak any longer, especially on this subject, people will start like cutting me off and stuff and doing whatever they want to do. Anyways, Iscariot is a story about a teenager who is bullied on occasion. He has a disease known as, in the story, it's called leprosy, which is known as a skin disease, and bodily disease or whatever. This all came from, well, you can already tell that a lot of this stuff was inspired by like my time of reading the Bible, studying it, or being lectured on it. But in this case, the story does not take place on this specific earth that we live on and breathe on and all that, but it happens on an alternate earth and an alternate universe and all that stuff. So you don't have to worry about reading a book about the Antichrist and all that stuff. I'm not really that kind of person. I mean, I just took names that I thought were really cool looking and I applied them to characters, and that's all. I mean, you should see the planets' names. I mean, the planet's name, in one of the verses, later verses, one of the planets gets its name from like the Greece, Greek naming of Mars or something like that. There's a lot of names that are compounded with like other names, like Joseph, the one of the characters that is introduced in the beginning of the story. It's like putting Seth and Joseph together, and you have Joseph or something like that. You know, a lot of these have a lot of significance, but at the same time, I'm just making a cool name, right? The world is different. I mean, I thought of making a Pangea, but then I say Pangea for a different planet. Then I kind of broke up the supercontinents and just made like these supercontinents. um, you know, just to make the world a bit tighter and smaller, more possible to tell the story, and made new names for the locations and stuff like that. Anyways, alternate Earth kid, right? He gets this. He's a teenager in high school. Gets this special power. It makes him super strong and all that. And leading up to the point where he can even transform into a more supreme being and stuff like that. But of course, it's all about the journey of getting there. And there's 6 parts to the story. I'm currently working on the first part, and as of 2012 and 13, I've included more parts to the story that will somewhat be kind of non-canon slash canon, but all in all, you'll be able to read the original story that I'll be working on in its entirety, at least by 2025 or something. But this is the year of the first book, so I'm definitely going to be working on that. Hopefully, it'll turn out great. The project is still pretty small; it's still in the works, but I'm pushing out previews and stuff like that periodically, so people can check that out. A lot of these really successful books. I mean, I don't really follow any formulas or anything like that on making a successful book, and I don't expect it to be, but the reality of it is that a lot of these books that come out are not even really known, and they just come out as these little drafts, and people get to read it, and if they like it, they start talking about it, and other people will start reading it, whatever. That's what I'm kind of hoping it will do. Like just going from person to person. I can care less about having all the riches in the world and the big giant house and all that stuff. I can get that, but what I really really want is for my book to be adored by like the millions. I mean, if it could, but even 1,000 people is fine. Currently got a Facebook page up, facebook.com/Iscariot with a Y in the beginning. Has about over 11,000 fans, and that really surprises me because not that many. I would not expect that many people ever to even know who I am. The book's been downloaded, of course, over 11,000 times. As let me go ahead and check here. It's been downloaded over 11,280 times. Wow! And as I refresh it, it's still at that same number right now. Yeah. So, anyways, um, yeah. So, book is kicked off a bit. Um, the current book that is out, current books is are sorry, the current books that are out are Neo Alpha, which is verse 0 to 8, and by verses I mean chapters. So you kind of get like 9 chapters in the first book, and it's a really I believe it's a really sweet preview. I mean, it gives you prelude and everything, and tells you about the Earth a little bit, and then it goes off into the story. Um, it's gotten just a few reviews and stuff like that, but I'm pretty sure that some people, just quietly accepted the book and they're reading it. Um, the first 3 chapters, which I call verses, are in the Spanish version of the beta, which is technically the first novel. The only alpha that will ever exist is actually the graphic novel that I tried to make and everything. The hybrid graphic novel, try to go for this look, and I'll talk about those later. But the Spanish beta is now out as of today, and these books are both free, and including the book to be released next week on the 17th, also known as my brother's birthday. My little brother will be 29 on January 17th. The Delta will have 3 new chapters to add after the Neo Alpha. The Delta will be verses 9 to 11, right? So Neo Alpha, then get the Delta. Okay, the Neo Alpha is actually a combination of the Alpha, Beta, and the Gamma, and it was supposed to be a Delta version of that medium, but I went ahead and put it all in one book, and the Delta is now. And if the Delta does pretty good, I'll work on the next version. And if that version gets kicked off pretty well, I'll start making another book, and then we'll have maybe even a neo beta in English or something like that. Anyways, the Spanish beta was translated by Nia Evans. I'm still trying to get in contact with her, trying to pay the girl. She's not even like responding to the messages I'm sending her. I don't know what happened to her. But hopefully she's okay and she gets in contact with me very soon because she said she needed the money, and yeah, and I really would like for her to stay on this team. Anyways, the future of Iscariot. Well, there will still be some more books, as I said, but um, just to close and to reiterate, I made a post a while back about coming back home to Dallas. I haven't been back home in the States for a long time. About that, I mean like a year, whatever. And I only plan on going back to my hometown if I can get 1,000 downloads. Right now, I have zero or two downloads actually on Google Play, but I have zero PDF downloads, and that's not looking too good because the challenge is only 2 weeks long. So, and I'm actually extending it to February 1st. So if I don't get 1,000 downloads by February 1st, I'm no way I'm not going back to Dallas. I mean, if people want to see me, they better be prepared to come visit me somewhere, But yes, if I get 100 downloads, I'll go to New York. If I get 50, I'll go to California. And by those, I mean New York City and San Diego, Los Angeles area. So make sure that you guys check that out if you're listening. www.iscariot with a Yscarlt, whatever, .com. Again, you should still be able to see Iscariot on the. You should be able to see the title and the image or whatever. Just put .com, and then you can go to the website and download from there. Right. I have a some sort of stat ticker thing that like goes off whenever somebody like downloads my book. So make sure you hit that download button when you go through the download link if you're getting the PDF, right? If you're just looking at the file is kind of it's not really it's not really downloading it, right? You want to download it, you want to have it, you want to keep it and make it a part of your life, right? Just so that in case you don't ever see it again, you just probably won't. But anyways, yeah. Uh, I recently ended my podcast. It's been almost an hour, almost 45 minutes. Again, if you guys have nothing to do and you're just listening to this, I really appreciate it, whatnot. If not, then whatever. But I'll be recording another one of these things a little later, and the subjects will be pretty much shorter. I'll be aiming for 20 to 30 minute podcast recordings, and hopefully you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you for listening, and once again, this is Marcus Medina from XL Studios, the small little imprint, and I'll talk about that too later. Uh, Marcus Medina from XL Studios, author of Iscariot, sorry, and the owner of Iscariot.com. Please check those things out, and see you later. Bye.